Yay. So, hi, welcome to this live stream with me and Shaun. Hi, Shaun.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So, I'm going to share a little story with you guys because I was a guest at Shaun's podcast. Shaun, what's the name of your podcast? It's something with content.
Yeah, it's called the Content Amplification Podcast.
Yes. And you have done how many episodes?
To date, 131.
Yeah. So, Shaun is so comfortable with doing podcasts that when Wendy
Hmm.
asked if we could come on his podcast for a specific topic, he said, "Yeah, come on in and join me and let's do this," right?
That's
And
right.
the topic was so first of all, Shaun, what is it you do? You're CEO of Blue Cow Marketing, meaning
Yes.
you do what?
So we work with small business owners to help them build out their customer journey, the whole customer experience, and then put the technology behind that so we can automate a lot of those things, so that you're not a slave to your business and you can still have the life that you want.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I talk to people all the time that are slaves to their business. I think I'm guilty of that myself sometimes.
I think we all are to an extent.
It's like it's like sometimes I go, "Why am I making this so hard?" Right? So, anyways, we got ourselves invited to your podcast
Hmm.
and we gave you the topic. And the topic was how to double your income in 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
And you thought it would be a regular podcast, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And here's the podcast guest that always says, talk is cheap. So I wanted to create a result, right?
Hmm.
So I challenged you to choose a service
Hmm.
and to double your price and feel like just think about that
Hmm.
and feel the resistance. And you did. And you chose a service
Hmm.
and you imagine doubling your price. And from what I remember, you said, well, that's not really that difficult because you know the value of what you
Right.
deliver, right?
Hmm.
And then I challenged you again. Remember what I said?
To triple it,
Quadruple it.
or quadruple it. Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did.
Hmm.
And then we did something really silly looking called tapping that you had never tried before.
Nope, no guest has ever asked me to tap on my face and my neck and everything. It was interesting.
Yeah. So you've never tried this thing. It's could we say it's kind of out of your character to do something like that?
Absolutely.
And you still did. So thank you for like being a good sports and trying out that crazy thing that I threw at you.
It was fun and it worked.
Yeah, so we did the tapping and then you said, "No, I don't have any resistance," basically, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's always cool to have someone say that on a live show and share it with the world, right?
Mhm.
But what I am really curious about is what happened out in the real world.
Well, I'll give a little more context to the work that led up to this podcast. You mentioned Wendy at the beginning. I've been
Mhm.
working with Wendy. I've been part of her program, and we looked at the way that I was running my business and packaging certain things, and we started to analyze. Actually, was I making a profit off of some of the packages? Very little. I think it was like less than 5% sometimes on some of these services. So that was the one I picked. So we looked at the market and we looked at the price, and while I knew that the price could be higher, I still had that reluctancy, that fear, that emotion of like, I can't say that higher price with confidence without being sheepish behind it. And then the podcast came along and we did that exercise, and I was thinking about those prices, and that's what those feelings were. And we did it again. We did the double and the quadruple and all that kind of stuff. And the feelings went away. So just happened that the next day I had to quote on a project that
Mhm.
was for that service. And it came to that point in the proposal where you type in the price. And I typed in that it was 3x, 3x the price of what I was normally doing, without a fear. I typed it in, I clicked send, I walked away from the computer, and I had no remorse. I had no issues. And within 20 minutes, the client wrote back and said, "Looks great. Let's get started." And I was blown away, blown away. And then I think it was 3 days later, I had another one come in, and the same thing. I was like, okay, we're going to go with the same price again. And they wrote back right away and they said, yeah, once I get my funding, we're going to do it. Now, to me, I was baffled by this, from two parts. One, the more I charge, now I still probably could go higher and still be within the market. But the fact that they were the easiest clients up to this date to work with, because they weren't worried about nickel and diming you. So if you've ever done this where you try to, be as lean in your pricing because you want to help the other person, you
Mhm.
end up taking on all that stress yourself, um, in that process. So, what you were able to do was help me get over my own mental block,
Mhm.
of feeling my worth and the value of over 20 years in marketing, and the price that the client is paying is not for the hours I put into that one project. It's the 20 years of hours it took me to be more efficient in that time, that I can do it in now.
Yeah. It's kind of the whole story about the guy that comes to fix that, like the steam, uh, what's the steam pan, or what do you call that in the
The-
factory?
okay, yes.
There a version of that story, right? Like the pan is like
Mhm.
it's stuck. It doesn't work. Like the whole factory is standing still, right?
Yep.
And then in comes this guy with a hammer and he just like,
Taps one spot and it starts working, right?
yeah. And then he says it's like $5,000 and they're like, "What? It took you 1 second." Yeah, it's not for the 1 second, it's for the
Yeah.
years of experience to know exactly
Where
where
to
to,
hit. Absolutely.
and you know that you have that skill set, you know the experience you have, and
Hmm.
still, and so you had help like building the package and
Hmm.
solidifying that this is what I should do, and still there was this irrational fear
Hmm.
of raising your price.
Yeah.
And that's the last kind of piece of the puzzle that we got in that podcast.
Hmm. Yeah, and then the part in there that you mentioned about, a small child, me being a father as well, the nagging, like when they want your attention, and giving that emotion, that attention to address it, was the biggest thing. Because even though I could have gone through a process to, triple that price in a package sense, I still was not giving my emotion the attention to get over the fact of fearing to give that price out.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's the thing, right? This happens to all of us. It's the one thing I think I said this to you as well, right? We have extensive research and science. We know exactly who procrastinates. We have a scientific name for people like that. We're called human beings.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
all, yeah, we all do it, right?
Yep.
And no matter how smart we are, how skilled we are, sometimes we still get in our own way.
Yep.
And sometimes it's kind of embarrassing because we know we're so smart.
Hmm.
We know the skills that we bring to the table. We know the solutions we provide, and still we hold back from actually claiming the worth that we
Hmm.
deliver.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the work that I do with clients is a lot of times around getting them their time back by automating things that take up a lot of time. And what you were able to do, I take, two examples, two closed sales that were three times the original price. Those two clients allow me not to have to sell six clients to make
Yeah.
the same amount of money,
Yeah.
right? So now I've reclaimed time there, which time is more valuable than money to me. And for a lot of people, it is because it's the one thing you can't get more of,
Even
right?
if we don't understand it, it is more valuable. Like it is the most valuable thing of all, right? You
Hmm.
can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
That's right. Yeah.
So, Shaun, do you have the link to the next event that Wendy and I am doing?
Yeah. If it's just, you want me to say the link?
Or post it in the chat if you have it handy. Like this is
Okay.
so ill prepared from this is me procrastinating now, right?
Yeah.
I don't have the links that I should have. This is me being a human being too. Because here's the thing, we are in 2 days, Thursday, we are doing the workshop Unleash the Power of Outrageous Money Goals, where we
Hmm.
will look into even more of this stuff. to
Absolutely.
help people increase the value, build more wealth, and get more time freedom, because that's what we really want.
Yeah.
And let's see, yes. And we would love for all of you to come and join us. And I will put this in the chat. And like, what, when are you going to go back to that podcast, Shaun, and do the same process for another service?
I should do it for all. I'm actually should just cut that clip, that exercise out, and just load it on your phone. My phone is a voice memo, and I think anything in life, right? If
Yeah.
you're dreading, a conflict or something that you just are uncomfortable with. I mean, for myself, it's always, getting on a cold call or calling somebody you don't know, or a client's upset and you're like, well, you're thinking the worst, right? I think this would work for that too, because there's that fear of something there.
It does. It works for all of that yucky stuff.
Hmm.
I love the yuck because the upside is amazing when you have the tools to deal with it. So, Shaun, I challenge you once again.
Hmm.
Choose one more service, go back to the replay, do the same process all over again, and I would love to hear what happens. And maybe we have to do another live stream.
That's right. That's right. I think I'm going to coin it as it's time to unstuck the yuck.
Yes, unstuck the yuck. That's what we'll do.
Perfect.
Okay, Shaun, thank you so much for sharing this with me. It was a pleasure to have you on my live stream.
Thank you for
And
inviting me.
let's stay in touch and see what happens. And everyone else, if you want more of this, Shaun, can you, like, let's put in, even like when we're done, put in the link to that episode
Okay. Yeah.
in here, right? So that people can find it and they can do it over and over, because it's just rinse and repeat by now. It's
Absolutely.
already done, right?
Yep.
And hopefully I will see you Thursday and we will do some more of this work, because we need more time freedom and we need to build some more wealth. That goes for all of us. Thank you, Shaun, for being such a good sport and playing with me.
Thank you.